It is Wednesday, May 25th at 7:05. This is a meeting of the Marina Advisory Committee. All members are here except David, Kevin, and Flip, also known as Frederick. We have Will Sullivan is joining us as well. So let's start with on the agenda with announcements, open session, and public comments. Are there any?
Could we start with a moment of silence for Texas? That was pretty tragic.
Yeah, I'll agree to that.
Yeah,
I will too.
very sad country we're in. Okay, the first item is announcements, open session, and public comments. Does anybody have anything?
Well, I got the official approval for the Wellfleet Rowing Rendezvous on September 17th in the fall. So that's a go.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah, I think so. It should be fun.
Yeah, Flip is looking to come in now. So will you have food there, Walter?
Yeah, we'll have the same thing. Get 100 oysters and a bunch of sandwiches from Box Lunch and some water and stuff like that.
And a nice variety of boats.
Yeah, last year we had, I think, 14, 15. It was a little bit less than had been, but I think people are getting more into going and doing things. So I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, well, I've always enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah. I get a lot of comments, tell you the truth.
It's a nice change.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people don't even row the boats. They just come and hang out on the beach.
Flip, I'm trying to unmute you. Are you
I
there?
got you. I'm here.
Okay, we just started. Okay, any other announcements? Okay, the next item is the approval of the minutes from April 27th, the last meeting. If you want to take a look at those.
Looks good to me, except in the harbor master report, it says Mackenzie Hartman reported that some planks on the docket are being repaired. Probably should be docks.
Okay,
Spell check can be weird.
yep, got it, thank you. Okay, any other corrections or amendments to the minutes? All right, do we have a motion?
I make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
And I'll second it.
Okay, Walter made the motion. Martha is seconding it. Okay, Roll call vote. Walter,
Aye.
Martha,
Aye.
Will Barrio. Will Barrio,
Aye.
Sam,
I'll abstain because I wasn't at the meeting,
Yes,
so
okay.
I'll abstain.
all right. Ed, I don't think you were at the meeting.
I was not.
Okay, Flip,
Aye.
and I'll vote aye. Motion passes. Okay, Harbor Master report. Will?
Sure. So right now we are getting ready for the summer season at the harbor. We're getting the majority of all the docks in. We have several new ones that we built. We also have a large concrete dock down in E section that Bay Sales sent to the town. Yeah, a lot of work going on after the dredging, trying to clean up and tie up the loose ends. Ton of work fixing the majority of the docks right now. We had to make a lot of changes in the docks, the gangway docks in those areas because of the dredging. The docks don't sit on the mud anymore. Now they sit a foot or two below the mud or where the mud was. So what ended up happening was the gangway docks were not long enough to take the incline for the gangways. So we needed to build several and swap several around, which meant a lot of extra work figuring out how long they needed to be. Because if you see the distance between the dock and the bulkhead, the old riprap there, you could see it pretty good at low tide because that sits up. So they couldn't be affected by that, but they had to be just long enough to get in between. But we did a lot of swaps and flip-flops, which meant we had to move a lot of hardware and change a lot of things around. But we got that done, and now we got the last section of new dock put in. We rearranged the concretes, took out a bunch of old ones, which now we have to cut up and send to the pit, and get rid of them. So that'll take a few days with us and the DPW down there to get those out of the water. Just pretty much doing the get ready. Today we were getting all the buoys out, stringing them up, making sure all the lines were good on them and all the chain gear. And next will be the moorings to get started on them. And that and dealing with the budget crisis in town and the override and all the meetings that are involved with that at the same time. So it's been a busy little bit of time.
Questions or comments?
Yeah, Will, how's the budget crisis specifically affecting the marina?
Well, what it'll do to us is if that override doesn't pass, what we'll have to do is help with a portion of our budget, what we could see feasible to take out of our budget and start paying for how the town subsidizes us and actually, start running more like a true enterprise fund and get back on the actual enterprise track that we really haven't been on all these years. So specifically, we'll start with the health insurance, and the enterprise fund will be reimbursing the town for our health insurance. We also currently aren't paying any fees to the town for their services, which in the past was always a number that was, there's a calculation ratio out there that's generally looked at by accounting and the town administrator and figured out. I mean, I think it's through the Department of Revenue or some person like that, some entity like that has a formula. But I believe in the past there was anywhere from like $30,000 to $50,000 to pay the town for their services, and that's not currently coming out of our budget either. So Part of that will be reimbursing. The first start will be the 25,000. That would probably cover our health insurance, which would put us on track to be running more like a proper enterprise fund. So, and that would have to come directly out of the line that we could take it out of. Most likely would be the seasonal help. That's our biggest line. So it'll directly impact the resources that we have to provide hours of operations, things like that.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, this is Sam. I got a quick question. I just looked at the warrant quickly on the enterprise fund, and I know that the accounting in the town is not been really up to date, but the published numbers for fiscal year 21, I was just looking at the resale of gasoline and diesel. And according to that report, according to what's printed in there, we lost like $15,000 in selling diesel fuel, selling gasoline and diesel. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I know that there have been some issues with accounting, but I just want to get your perspective on that piece, because that was kind of concerning to me, that, you know, because I know that the town also does pump some of their vehicles from that tank. So I want to make sure that we're getting, you know, the fund is getting reimbursed for that. I'm still not convinced that they are after I looked into it. So just want to get your 2 cents on that.
Currently, we aren't pumping any of the town vehicles into it. But I think to look at the fuel as a whole, I guess I could probably, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it could probably be skewed year to year because of the purchases and sales. You know, July would be the middle of our season. So if we had to buy fuel right now or right before July, we would be spending an additional, I mean, you know, if we're paying, you know, $4 a gallon or $4.50 a gallon or whatever it may be, times, you know, 6,000 gallons for each tank, that could play out year to year, because fuel's kind of a tough thing, you know, where the business or the town would run on the July to July, basically, where the marina doesn't really run like that. So July is the middle of our season, and that's a big influxer coming and going depending on when the fuel was ordered and purchased as well.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that, you know, it could just be that we made a large purchase in June for the season. And then, you know, obviously we didn't have the revenue to support that until after the end of the fiscal year. But it just seemed, maybe what we should do, Will, is think about, and maybe you do this, keep track of it on a, you know, kind of an inventory basis, you know, how much we have in the tank, how much we buy, and how much we sell, and then what we end up with, you know. So kind of look at it that way, because I just think it's misleading for the folks that look at that stuff in the town to see that we, you know, I don't believe that we actually lost money either. I just think but that's the way the numbers are published in the warrant. So
yeah, it's a little bit confusing too, because I know it's sort of an odd thing even to do, because we'll put out a projection of what we're gonna buy for fuel, and typically, you know, like with a town budget, you're not supposed to go over that amount, but obviously in our case, if we were going over that amount, we should be selling more than that or making more on that. So it's kind of a weird setup with the way the enterprise sort of works with that town fiscal planning, you know.
yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, I agree. I mean, on one hand, it's a standalone enterprise fund. On the other hand, you're kind of bound by the town budgeting process. So yeah, I hear you. Anyway, it's just something I wanted to bring up because I think it's something that maybe going forward we should just keep track of. That's all. Because it just looked really weird to me that it was presented that way.
Yeah, definitely. We do have some pretty good history of that. If you want to, we could go over all the bills and invoices, kind of get a general total too. I mean, you and I could sit down and do that pretty.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it if you have the time. That's fine. I know this is busy season for you, but yeah, I just wanted to, again, anything that gets published for the tax paying community is always, you know, that kind of becomes what's understood in the town. So that's why I raised it at the meeting here, just so we're aware that that's what's in the warrant. And I do know also, because I've worked with the town accountant, that there's been some, there's been some challenges on the accounting side for sure. So
To
I
say
don't
the
even know
least.
I don't even know if the accounting is accurate. So I just wanted to bring it up, and but I'm happy to work with you and kind of look at it just to make sure that the way we're represented as the enterprise fund is really the way it actually operates. So
Yeah, and just that on the accounting side, I mean, someone like Cape Cod Oil will be on our propane line and our fuel line. And then I can't tell you how many journal entries have been corrected, but like someone with the biggest problem that we saw, one of the biggest problems with the whole budget crisis was that the journal entries were wrong. I mean, a propane bill would have been taken out of the fuel line and vice versa. And it's just, I'm sure, Sam, the work involved in correcting all that, but man, it's a lot of extra work to go back with them and help them straighten it all out, because those are even happening to us. I mean, we send it in as a propane bill and it comes out of fuel or vice versa, and it's like, oh man. So
yeah, totally. I totally understand that, because I've spoken with Lisa Suvi, who's kind of been forthcoming in all the issues. I think going forward, it'll be much better, but it's for fiscal 21 and even part of fiscal 22, I think it's really kind of it's messy. Let's just say that. So
yeah, for sure.
Well, the question was asked at the last meeting, if the DPW is charging the marina for their work installing the marina docks.
No, they're not.
Okay.
Well, if
They've
that override doesn't go, how will that affect the hours at the gas dock?
We probably have to come more in line with all the other towns and be, all the other marinas kind of, and be more of that, kind of 12-hour days, sort of, instead of, we have been one of the longest open fuel docks around. And, our hours are significantly greater than most marinas. And we would have to probably come more in line with that. I mean, honestly, if we don't get a lot more staff, we might have to cut them anyway. So,
Any other questions for Will on his report? Okay, we'll move on to marina concerns. Okay, anybody have anything? One question, Will, the 3.5% surcharge on fuel for people using a credit card, is that still in effect, or has that been removed?
that is still in effect. And what I've asked for, that was an order given by the select board to charge the consumer credit card fees. So or credit card processing fee in addition to the transaction, like most municipalities. So what I've asked for is specifically any kind of legal determination about that issue specifically related to the fuel dock.
Okay, so it's still in effect until you hear back.
Yeah, because I mean, as of right now, we're going to follow the town policy, and unless the legal counsel or the town says that we don't have to anymore.
Okay, any other issues under marina concerns?
I will say the new docks look good.
Thank you. They're coming along pretty good. But as you all know, the cost is up significantly of dockage.
Yeah, materials are crazy.
Yeah, the women and men that we have been working very hard to get pump those out. So
So they definitely starting to look good.
Okay, dredging update. I'm not aware of anything. Will, do you have anything?
no, not at this time. We're just still waiting for the mitigation to go through. And then we'll follow course with the permitting and the grants as well.
What's the mitigation deal?
The feeling of it.
What do they want? Let's put it that way.
Well, they wanted the world and the moon, and we're kind of trying to narrow that down. I believe, Joe, what was the original amount? 10 or 14 million they wanted in mitigation money for that permit?
13.4 million.
Yeah, so we're trying to get that down to nothing.
Yeah.
So it's working on mitigation credits with the lobbyists that the town hired, and a lot of help with from the lobbyists and our congressional delegation. I mean, all your senators and congressmen and them have been significantly helpful in a lot of ways, trying to help us and guide us through this process. And working with the Army Corps to come to a more mutually beneficial understanding.
Thank you.
Anything else under Marina concerns? I note that we were just joined by Robert Cosavera. Are you on, Robert? I know he had sent a memo to the committee at the last meeting. Okay, I'm trying to unmute him, but it's not working. Robert, are you on?
Yeah, yes, I'm here.
Okay, yeah. Okay. I know you had sent a memo to the committee and the harbor master last time, and Will wasn't here. So I'll give you the opportunity for a minute if you want to present your Marina concerns.
Yeah, I don't know if the harbor master saw the letter, but my concern was the placement of buoys and lack of buoys. The main one is when you're approaching the coming in from offshore and heading towards the jetty, the red buoy right by the end of the jetty, sandbar that hangs out there, and that red buoy used to always be at the edge of the sandbar. It's on the inbound side. So if you're not familiar or not paying attention, you're going to hit that sandbar if you're, half tide or whatever. So I just thought the placement of that buoy. And also there were either no buoys or very few buoys around Shirt Tail Point. I mean, it's not a big problem for me. I've been boating there for over 50 years, but sometimes you're not paying attention and whatever. So I'd like to see the buoys back like they've been through the years. I don't know why they weren't put back. They've always been there, and I don't know why the change is. So I'm just requesting that they be put back so the navigation is in and out for me, and particularly for inexperienced boaters.
Yeah, Will?
So we did get a whole pile of new buoys kind of end of season last year. It took a long time to get. And if you look out behind our bathroom, we got a whole stock of new buoys now to be able to put out, which they weren't there totally last year. The ones we have lost, they were very hard to replace. Alfred finally got a hold of a pile of them for us that we bought through Wellfleet Marine, and they even came in separately. I mean, some came in and took a while for the greens and not the reds, or vice versa. I can't remember. But as far as the placement of the buoys go, what we try to stick with is where we have our pitons registered with the Coast Guard and put them back in those locations. And then actually the Coast Guard Auxiliary comes and checks them to make sure that they're on target at the locations. And then usually we get a letter if they are not from them, or an email, and then we'll go out with them or aside from them and try to place them back in the right spot and let them know that they're there if any got off course.
Well, there weren't any buoys at the end of Short Tail Point last year.
No, there weren't.
No, there's always been buoys there. Because you
Yeah,
get that point of sandbar behind the bandstand that sticks out there, and there's always a green and a red buoy there. There was nothing there last year. And at the beginning of the season, there was no buoys around the corner there. In fact, one of the charter boats grounded out there. An experienced charter boat guy grounded out. There were no buoys there. I don't
Actually,
understand it. I mean, it's not a
I
big
think
deal.
they actually have pictures of.
I'm
him
asking
with
for
the
buoys to be put
picture.
where they always were. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for anything out of the extraordinary.
No, and like I said, we'll put them right back where they're registered, and the Coast Guard Auxiliary actually comes in and checks them on us. So, and then they let us know, and it's possible fine if they're not on course if we don't correct that.
Now, like at the end of the launch ramp, as you're coming in and you pass the launch ramp to head around, there was always a buoy on each side of that, kind of getting into that area, and then one along on the right, and then a couple around the Short Tail Point. And I think last year there was nothing there for a while, and then there was one showed up on the red buoy and whatever. So anyway, I'd appreciate it if the buoys get set where they were. It'd be helpful for everybody. Thank you.
thank you, Bob.
Flip's got his hand up there.
Yeah, I'd like to say, yeah, I went out on a dead low tide mission in the fog the other day on all my GPS, 2 of my GPS things going, just to see how all the markers for the state markers were. And a couple of the cans are not lined up with, they're not updated. I don't know if that's satellite or them or whatever, but they're a little off. But definitely there's a big sandbar in the middle of the channel if you're hugging the left side coming in just past the ramp. So yeah, it would definitely be a great, very advantageous to have those marked in and around Short Tail, because it's narrow. I mean, there's no doubt. It's only, what, 30 feet? I don't even know, 40 feet, 50 feet, whatever it is. But it's, going on low tide and you get a little off, you're on ground now, at low tide, for sure.
Yeah, well said. And we also have to be aware that we all have, new boaters coming in who
Yeah.
aren't intimately familiar with everything. I've been teaching my wife, and she really depends upon those. And I'm sure all of you have friends or relatives or young people who are learning, and would feel more supported if they were there. Any other comments? Okay. New business and future concerns.
I just have one thing to say.
Yeah,
Well, my appointment is coming up the end of June. My appointment is ending and I am not requesting to be reappointed. So just thought I'd let you know, next meeting is going to be my last one.
okay.
That's if it's before the 29th, Walter.
Now that's going to be close.
Yeah. Well, we'll miss you.
Well, it's been fun, but I've had enough fun.
Yeah, well, I'll notify the town hall and you'll be receiving your gold watch pretty soon.
Thank you. And a plaque on the wall too, right?
Absolutely. With all of our pictures.
There you go.
Anybody else have
You
anything?
get, Walter, you get that with your override tax bill.
There
Comes in
you
the same envelope, yeah.
Okay. 4 weeks would put us at June 22nd. And that would be after the town meeting. So how does that date look for people?
Looks okay to me.
Okay to me.
Yeah,
I'm actually open.
you watch Flip?
I'm good.
Yeah, okay. We'll put it down for the 22nd. And at 7:35, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Martha. Second,
I'll second.
who was that?
That was me, Flip.
Flip.
Flip. Okay. All right.
Good timing. My dinner just showed up.
All right.
Okay, roll call for dismissal. Walter,
Aye.
Martha,
Aye.
Wilberio,
Aye.
Sam,
Aye.
Ed,
Aye.
Flip.
Aye.
Joe is aye. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
You.
Enjoy
Take
the
it
game,
easy.
guys.
Okay, we'll see
All
you.
right. See ya. Bye-bye.
And on the pier.
Yeah. See you soon, Walter.